सो ये नेटवर्क आर्किटेक्चर क्या है, एक वे है विजुअलाइज़ करने का कि कैसे 2 रिमोट कंप्यूटर आपस में टॉक करेंगे। सो इट गिव्स मी अ वे टू विजुअलाइज़ दैट हाउ अंडरलाइंग थिंग्स विल बी देयर। अंडरलाइंग जो थिंग्स हो रही है, जब हमारा नेटवर्क के अंडरलाइंग जो है वो कैसे है, उसको विजुअलाइज़ करने का एक तरीका देता है। आई रिक्वायर सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक टू हैंडल दैट, राइट? तो इसे हैंडल करने के लिए, इस नेटवर्क आर्किटेक्चर को हैंडल करने के लिए हमें एक प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक चाहिए, यानी कि प्रोटोकॉल की लेयर चाहिए। प्रोटोकॉल्स का स्टैक चाहिए। स्टैक वही डेटा स्ट्रक्चर वाला स्टैक, तो प्रोटोकॉल का स्टैक चाहिए हमें, ठीक है? नेटवर्क जिसको कि हम बोलेंगे नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक। नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक जिसको हम बोलेंगे नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक। आई रिक्वायर सम सॉर्ट ऑफ अ प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक टू हैंडल दैट, राइट? सो इवन इफ आई लुक एट आवर, इवन नॉट इन केस ऑफ द network, forget about the network. If I want to communicate with somebody else at the other things or some other party, नेटवर्क पे ही नहीं, अगर हम कहीं भी कम्युनिकेट करना चाह रहे हैं, अपने भी केस में देखें, अदर कहीं भी कम्युनिकेट करना चाह रहे हैं, तो आई नीड टू फॉलो सम सेट ऑफ प्रोटोकॉल्स। तो हमें वहाँ पे कुछ प्रोटोकॉल फॉलो करने ही होंगे। जैसे कि वो लेक्चर पढ़ा रहा है, तो वो कुछ प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो कर रहा है। टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स, देयर इज़ अ वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट इट, जो एक तरीका है देखने का। So these protocols or the network protocol stack and having an underlying technology of the thing provides me a way to communicate between any two systems, whether it is in my same network or whether it is in different network। तो ये प्रोटोकॉल उसे अलाउ कर रहा है किसी भी दो सिस्टम में कम्युनिकेशन इस्टेब्लिश करने में, चाहे वो सेम ही नेटवर्क से बिलोंग कर रहा है या फिर डिफरेंट नेटवर्क से बिलोंग कर रहा है। वन मे बी हेयर एट IIT खड़गपुर, वन मे बी समवेयर एल्स इन द वर्ल्ड। एक IIT खड़गपुर में बैठा हुआ है, एक कहीं और है, तो बीच में कम्युनिकेशन तो हो ही रहा है हमारा। अब हम देखेंगे व्हाट इज़ नेटवर्क आर्किटेक्चर, दो कंप्यूटर आपस में बात कर रहा है, तो उसके लिए हमें चाहिए नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक। दो आदमी भी बात कर रहा है, उसे भी प्रोटोकॉल चाहिए। इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज तो कुछ एक तरीका, क्योंकि वो सेट ऑफ रूल्स। So our basic objective is that two systems talking to each other, right? These two systems can be wired connection हो सकता है, directly connected हो सकता है। So we will see that whether it is possible or not, that where these two systems can be somewhere at the different things. So the basic vanilla thing is that I have two systems, and somewhere I connect a wire between these two network interfaces. In two network interface wire connected there, like there may be some way of connecting them, and then these two systems talks to each other, right? There may be some way to connecting them, and और फिर ये सिस्टम आपस में बात करेगा। दिस कैन बी टू डायरेक्ट सिस्टम्स, दिस कैन बी टू डायरेक्ट सिस्टम्स, ये डायरेक्ट सिस्टम्स ही हो सकते हैं। व्हाट इज़ नेटवर्क आर्किटेक्चर? देखो L2, एक L2 स्विच है, एक फिजिकल लेयर है, एक डेटा लिंक लेयर है। व्हाट इज़ नेटवर्क आर्किटेक्चर? रिक्वायरमेंट्स: ensure proper scheduling in media access. Also, what we have for these, we require a need to convert this digital data to analog data and analog signal, or vice versa, right? So when we connect by a wire, this is a physical connection, right? This is physically connected between the two systems. हाँ, ये physical connection है, physically connected between two systems. So what I require a physical wire, and as the signal transmitted by the typical wire, say even if you consider our previously we used to communicate through telephone lines and type of things, और स्टिल वी डू इन सम केसेस, तो ठीक है, वो वायर्ड कनेक्शन हो गया, ठीक है। सो व्हाट इज़ देयर, इट बेसिकली कन्वर्ट्स दिस डिजिटल डेटा ऑफ दिस जनरेटेड बाय दिस कंप्यूटर सिस्टम टू एनालॉग सिग्नल विच इज़ कैरिड आउट बाय दिस वायर, ठीक है, ओके, ये तो नई बात नहीं है। एट द अदर एंड इट इज़ रिकन्वर्टेड टू डिजिटल डेटा एंड प्लेस्ड इट टू द सिस्टम। सो आई हैव टू एप्लीकेशंस एट टू सिस्टम्स, दो एप्लीकेशन है दोनों सिस्टम पे। दे आर जनरेटिंग सम डेटा, अंडरलाइंग नेटवर्क इंटरफेस कन्वर्टिंग देम टू द एनालॉग सिग्नल, ठीक है, बीइंग कैरिड आउट things, etc. This basic communication path which allows things to communicate is the physical layer। ये जो basic communication path है जो कि allow कर रहा है things को communicate करने में, इसको बोलते हैं physical layer। वो L2 switch है, कुछ फालतू चीज़। ensure proper scheduling in media access, ठीक है। So whatever may be the way of protocol, etc, followed at the high levels, I need to have some physical connection, it can be wired, it can be wireless, right? It can be cable, or it can be fiber, it can be normal, it can be Bluetooth, it can be Wi-Fi, etc. बट आई रिक्वायर अ फिजिकल कनेक्शन, राइट? हाँ, फिजिकल कनेक्शन चाहिए। एक तो फिजिकल लेयर होता है वो, ठीक, उसको बोलते हैं फिजिकल लेयर। द बेसिक कम्युनिकेशन पाथ विच अलाउज थिंग्स कम्युनिकेट इज द फिजिकल लेयर, ठीक है? देयर शुड बी अ कनेक्टिविटी विच कैरीज द सिग्नल फ्रॉम वन पार्ट टू अनदर, राइट? यस। एंड देन इफ आई हैव मोर देन वन, like only not two party, more than two parties are communicating with each other, like three systems are there, then I cannot connect this wire like this। तो इस तरह से वायर को कनेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि पहला तीसरा से भी बात करेगा, पहला दूसरा से भी बात करेगा, दूसरा तीसरा से भी, तो वो कॉम्प्लेक्स हो जाएगा। सो आई रिक्वायर अ समवेयर concentrator, right? Or some what we say in our terms a concept of hub or switch in between। तो hub switch चाहिए फिर, where it is where it has a multi-port thing, I can connect to the things, then and then I communicate with the with the other three systems can communicate। the property of this device is allows it to communicate to one another, ठीक है? तो hub फिर हमें hub चाहिए, या फिर उसको बोलो switch चाहिए, ठीक है? हाँ। So one way of looking them, looking then is that they when everyone talking to other, there is a collection between there is a collision between the thing। हाँ, तो ए वन वे ऑफ लुकिंग देम इज दैट जब सब आपस में बात करेगा, देयर इज अ कोलिजन बिटवीन द थिंग्स। सो व्हाट वी से, दे आर इन द सेम कोलिजन डोमेन, right? They say they are in the same collision domain, in the same physical network, and or they are communicating, others can listen, they are communicating, others can listen, or everybody can listen। So they are in the same broadcast domain, they are in the same collision domain भी हो गया, they are in the same broadcast domain भी हो गया। So this sort of things at a vanilla things, what we can say, there is a same I can think there is a concentrator of these wires, when we where the wires basically terminates and allows to communicate to each other, right? So another property usually these type of devices has is that they acts as an amplifier। so if there is a degradation of the signal, they act as an amplifier, okay? ये जो hub switch वाला बात बोल रहे हैं ना, sometimes we call that at the physical layer they are hub or repeater। तो physical layer में hub है या फिर repeater है। so they repeats, they basically energize the signal, right? तो ये energize कर रहा है, repeat कर रहा है, repeater भी बोलते हैं इसको hub को। so this physical layer here, the requirement is ensure proper scheduling in the media access, right? Proper scheduling in the media access। now the underlying media say like a communicates with b communicates with c, a communicates with c, and so there will be some collisions। हाँ, collision होगा जब वो उससे बात कर रहा है तो उससे भी बात कर रहा है तो so there should be some media access control, media access protocol need to be scheduled or need to be ensured that how this access will be there। otherwise what will happen, there should be a lot of retransmission होने लगा। so if at the physical layer, if all things are connected at the first layer, then we have lot of retransmission। whenever we retransmit, we lose bandwidth, right? like four persons talking or three persons talking at each other, and everybody wants to talk, nobody is waiting for others to the thing। so there will be a lot of collision। if there are collision, then say I am one of the party, I need to again tell my own story whatever I have told। yes, तो फिर से बताना क्योंकि किसी ने सुना ही नहीं। so that means there is a retransmission and is doing so when I am doing, I am losing that, I am talking, I am taking more time, तो टाइम नहीं लग रहा है, कोई सुन ही नहीं रहा, वो बोल ही रहा है। that overall communication thing is more time, or in other sense it is losing bandwidth of a communication, it is becoming inefficient, nevertheless we can communicate, right? now the next type of thing that we have a layer 2 switch। अच्छा L2 वही लिखा हुआ था L2 स्विच, तो वो लेयर 2 स्विच, तो हमारे पास जो है फिर लेयर 2 स्विच होता है। what we say where these communication are at, what we say data link layer, right? Where these collision domains are divided, जहाँ पे collision domain divide कर दिया है, so they though they listen to the same broadcast but collisions are reduced, so effectively we increase the available bandwidth of the thing. So this layer 2 activity allows us to have a better bandwidth realization of the thing. So initially we are having a physical layer or layer 1 type of devices, now we are having layer 2 type of devices. So it can it I can that is that communication between a to b, b to c, c to d or d to e etc are not colliding, so the retransmission is less and and effectively we are getting much more bandwidth. So we say in network terms they are in different collision domains, इनका collision domain अब हमने बांट दिया, collision domain हमने बांट दिया, but still in the same broadcast domain. पहले क्या था, same broadcast domain and in same collision domain, now they are in different collision domain but in the same broadcast domain. Listen to, they are in the same broadcast domain but they are in different collision domain. what is the both a layer 2 switch, ठीक है. Now it may so happen that I have number of things, like consider your office or university institute type of things. So there are several departments, every department has several labs, classroom etc are different labs etc which are having different set of computers and we require. So there are a huge number of systems come into play, and as such there may be two groups who are talking, right? But they are talking among themselves, they are talking among themselves, but as such they are not this group is not talking with each other, ठीक है. In other sense, their conversation being heard by them or their conversation being heard by this group will create a collision of course or network congestion, right? And it may lead to again bandwidth loss, ठीक है. तो फिर से bandwidth loss होगा, तो ग्रुप आपस में बात कर रहे हैं तो जोर जोर से बात होगा तो इधर उधर. सो आई नीड टू सो if you look at a data link layer, so we could have avoided that collision domain, but even we listen to each other, right? So they are in the same broadcast domain, right? So though we could handle this collision, but they are in the same broadcast domain, right? L3 switch or routers, physical layer, data link layer, network layer. Requirement: find out a suitable path to forward data, find out a suitable path to forward data. So in order to handle this, so we need to find out a suitable way to forward this data from one to another, right? And they are what we require a network layer. Let us think of another case, like here in a classroom we are discussing about the network, computer network, internet protocols. In the next classroom there may be something going on, say something on a class on economy, so economics, or a class on say chemical bonding, right? So so had it been a one class, say two parallel systems in a large class, so they are in the same broadcast domain. Now my broadcast is heard there, and now if it is a different physically card, so my broadcast is not going to their other things, right? In order to communicate now from here to here, what I require another way to go there. I have to go out from this particular gate or room, catch hold of some person if somebody is there, then tell that I need this communicated to be communicated to this. I require a pen from the other classroom, right? I need to communicate something, right? So I require, so this not only the collision domains are divided, here the broadcast domains are divided. So I in networks team, we say these are two different networks. In order to okay connect these two networks, I require a network level device which will allow me to connect, right? So what we say is this is a layer 3 or the network acha layer type of things where routing is possible. So one network is routed to the things, and rather finding a suitable path to forward the data from one network to another, right? So we require a layer 3 or network layer, right? Or mostly they are known as layer 3 switches or routers. So whenever we have different networks like this, like in this case, if you see this is a network, this forms a network, this forms a network. In order to communicate, I require a L3 switch or router, so that routers can communicate this. In this case, then the picture it shows that two ports that can be multi-port, typically routers are 4-port routers and type of thing. So there can be other networks connected from the other ports, etc. So they can communicate with each other, right? So this is, so this way I have a network layer type of thing. So what we try to see that initially from the physically we can connect, right, two things, they are in the same collision domain, etc. In order to improve the situation, we have a data link layer or layer 2 type of switch, where though they are in the same broadcast, collisions are divided. Now we divide both the things, so they are separate networks. In order to connect them, we require a layer 3 switch or a router. So sorry if we try to see, so there are different network communicating to each other, and there are some inter between links, right, or what we say data links, or this like the road networks. These are high speed connected links or gateway or data paths between the link between the things. So I have different networks across the world, and they are connected with different type of mechanism, and these routers across this world, layer 3 or layer 3 plus switches distributed over the network, allows these things to communicate with communicate anything to anything. So within the network, these there are devices, right, there are several computers. So one computer here wants to communicate to here, it needs to find the path, either this path or that path or some other path. There may be multiple paths, like in case of our road network. So different cities, different regions, are connected by these road networks. You can have multiple paths, or you can choose an optimum path, right, based on your requirement. Here also, if the particular path is chosen based on the overall traffic flow management and other type of things, and if there is a interruption, if there is some congestion in the path, so there some other path can be chosen. So there are multiple paths and so forth. Either if you like to see what they are all somewhat dependent independent things, they are uh, here in this particular network at 4 or network at 2 1, they do not control each other. They are distributed network, autonomous system or autonomous network, and still it can communicate between, because they follow underlying protocol, and there is a different network architecture for that. So I can say that in this way I architect the internet, right, I architect my network. So it can be a small scale, right, if it is in the department, how you things make the networking thing. It can be at the institute scale, it can be at a regional scale, it can be country, or it can be over internet, right. So the core thing which binds them is that agreed upon in protocols, right. How they communicate is the agreed upon protocol, and there should be a network architecture which may vary from institution to which may vary from installation to installation, and even within a installation we can have different type of reverse of the things. But nevertheless they allowed you, they follow that is standard protocol. We have seen this in our telecom scenarios also. Then we can communicate to anything because they follow follow some protocol. Anyway, these days segregating data, voice and other things are slowly becoming converged networks, and type of things they follow is becoming more, what we say, consolidated, so to provide a better service. ये क्या था? अच्छा अच्छा What is network architecture? So we learn about physical layer, data link layer, network layer, and then transport layer. Then comes the transport layer. So what we see that with this three layer, we try to have a end to end some network connectivity, or some sort of a traffic control in the network, right? So there should be some physical connection, there should be some data link for hub to hub connection, and there should be a network layer, or a network layer to have a network to network connection, right? Over and above, we require a layer called transport, right? Or mostly what we say, it is a process to process communication, and it has a lot of property: error control, traffic management, traffic control, and different other properties, which transport layer. So it is above the network layer. Above the network layer comes transport layer, above the network layer. So it gives a process to process communication. So one is physically connectivity, one is a hub to hub connectivity, one is network to network, even to system to system connectivity. But there can be multiple processes in the system. Process to process communication is handled by this transport layer type of things, right? So we see that this different type of layers gradually will be dealing all of them in this particular course. We will be going details into the things, but we try to have a overview that these are the stacking of the layers which are there in our realization of any computer network, or internetworking, or what you say, data communication. The whatever way you try to put it, whenever uh, there is a movement of some data from one node to another node, from another place, I require this type of thing will be there. But if you see, I may not require always all the things, right? If I am, my data is only transmitted in between or to the other point, like in between, router may not want to open up to the transport layer, right? If there is a hub to hub connection, the data link layer may not require that, needs to be open up to the this up to the data link layer. So not even the network layer is not required. So sorry, intermediate devices can act up as to the level which connects and carry, right? Intermediate devices can act up to the level which connects and carry, right? So finally, a network protocol stack contains these five layers: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and then comes the application layer. So finally, what we are looking for, end user is the application, right? So end of the day, I am looking for, if I am having a mail application, I am looking for the mail application, that in turn uses some transport layer, that in turns uses some network layer, in turn data link and physical, all stack is there. But at the top, it is the application layer. The this is the typical protocol stack, popularly referred as TCP/IP protocol stack. अच्छा अच्छा, नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक इसी को बोलते हैं टीसीपी आईपी प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक, जिसमें कि फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, नेटवर्क लेयर, ट्रांसपोर्ट लेयर एंड एप्लीकेशन लेयर. टीसीपी आईपी प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक which is the predominant protocol across this over internet network, right? So this stack is the what we try to look into the thing, right? Into one by one, into the all the aspects of this particular protocol stack in this particular course. दिस प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक, नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक, इसको बोलते हैं टीसीपी आईपी प्रोटोकॉल स्टैक भी बोलते हैं. Data transfer between two remote machines. So what we try to do now, if there is a source and the destination of somewhere in the network, then somewhere other path should be established between the source and destination, and the communication should go on into into these paths, right? So there can the resource is destination. So there can be, we will see that what are the subsequently the nitty gritty of these having these paths to the things. But nevertheless, I required a path to communicate from the source to destination, right? And this overall different layers of a structure. So at the source and destination, what are the things are going on. These are basically applications what the user is using primarily, right? Like I say, www.iit.kgp.ac.in. So what I am doing, I am opening up a browser. It can be say some browser like this Firefox or Chrome or Internet Explorer, and then that's a client thing, and at the other end somewhere the server is there, IIT-KGP server is there, so it hits through the things. So the application thing are going on, but it is using this intermediate layer to communicate, right? That will we will look into these aspects. Data transfer between two remote machines. डेटा ट्रांसफ़र बिटवीन टू रिमोट मशीन, ये देखो मशीन वन है, वहाँ पे ये पांचों लेयर है, फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, नेटवर्क लेयर, ट्रांसपोर्ट लेयर एंड एप्लीकेशन लेयर, फिर वो हब है, कोई फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, फिर बीच में कुछ स्विच है, फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, नेटवर्क लेयर, फिर एक हब है, शायद वैसा ही कुछ है। हाँ, फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, फिर दूसरा सिस्टम है जिसमें कि पांचों हैं, फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, नेटवर्क लेयर, ट्रांसपोर्ट लेयर, एप्लीकेशन लेयर. So what we will see if we look at from this picture to this picture, so if it is this, so if it is this, what, so it is this is so this is a application stack where this is the whole protocol stack down there. To application is taking to the application is talking to the application, it is reduced to the transport network, data link, physical, then it is then it go on in the in between there is a layer 2 switch. If there is a layer 2 switch, it can open the packet up to the data link layer, वो पैकेट को डेटा लिंक लेयर तक खोल सकता है, राइट. रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग इज अ पेलोड फॉर द डेटा लिंक लेयर. अच्छा, उसके लिए पेलोड है. देन इट गोज इनटू सम राउटिंग डिवाइस एंड इट हैव अप टू द नेटवर्क लेयर, वो डेटा को नेटवर्क लेयर तक तोड़ सकता है. सो इट network layer means it can see this by which network it transmits and find out the path. Then it can go to another layer 2 switch. तो ये दोनों layer 2 switch थे. और ये क्या था,